Man, these allergies are, I don't know what it is. These allergies, boy. Mm, mm, mm. Got me sounding crazy out here. Man, what's on your first mind? What's on your first mind today? It's very important. It's very important. It could actually dictate and steer how your day is going to go. And hopefully, whatever's on your first mind will uplift you for the rest of the day. Seriously, this is, excuse me a second for this is like, man, these allergies are, it got me going through changes. Back in the days, I was once called a hood therapist. I don't know why. I don't know why. Hood therapist. I am not a therapist, not in the least bit, but certified a certified clinician called me a hood therapist because oftentimes I was sharing perspectives on things, and I'm like, yo, what do I know? What do I know? Provo in the building. What you mean? I'm trying to get to this bag. What you talking? What do you mean, man? Thanks for the audio. You know, Provo's the engineer, by the way, the unofficial. He doesn't even know it, but whenever he's around, he's the engineer. So let's get right into it, folks. Shout out to you, Provo. Hope you're doing well. So it's no secret what I've been like talking about for a minute, for a while, a long minute, an extensive minute, a minute that lasted over 22 months. You know how many minutes you can capture in 22 months? I don't know. You do the math, you do the research. Okay? Been talking about the same thing for a minute. Some people think I'm obsessed. Some people think I am completely brainwashed and I have drunk the Kool-Aid. I used to drink Kool-Aid when I was a child, okay? And I didn't like how it left my teeth stained, looking red, with the big bottle, the glass bottle, and a smile, the pouring bottle all round with a smile and legs, along with Tang powder drink. A lot of y'all don't know about that. A lot of y'all don't know about no frills and buying stuff in stores like Pathmark. Shout out to Pathmark. No frills. Pathmark used to be a supermarket over here in the Northeast. Back in the days, you could find everything, everything you wanted. Name brand, you could find it bootleg on Pathmark. At Path bootleg every food item you could think of as well, the non-perishable. No frills. You want Frosted Flakes from Kellogg's, or you could buy Frosted Flakes, no frills from Pathmark. I don't know what that was. A white label slapped onto the product and a black and red line, and in it said no frills. who cares, who whatever. So this is what I wanted to talk about. This is what I wanted to talk about. I caught a Spaces that was uploaded. I didn't actually catch it live, but I caught a Spaces that was uploaded by a content creator. I'm a bit whatever. Shout out to the content creator, but it was the material in that Spaces that I want to talk about. I want to speak on it. There was a community of people from the Pepe farms, not farms, Pepe community, crypto that was, they were pissed off because Post Chain supporters, according to what they're saying, Post Chain supporters are trying to convince people from Pepe to go get their copies of coins onto Post Chain. And what's happening is when the people go and find their copies, they think that it's a setup because the copies on Post Chain are not valued at the same value as their, ERC20 copies. And so they think that the Post Chain community is scamming. They believe that Richard Hart is a racist and that they'll never have anything to do with Pulse Chain. And, I was listening to the Spaces, and this is something that I have to say about it, right? First of all, the first topic was how racist Richard is. They mentioned how Richard had called black people niggers, right? And how he said it a few times on Spaces, in interviews, and the black people in Hex have given Richard a pass. Now, they've also said that once that they did hear, the few times that they did hear Richard say nigger out of his mouth, that he did get some pushback. This is the thing though. They keep emphasizing that term, right? And saying how people are just obsessed with Richard. They're just, they're brainwashed. They're cult members. Folks can't think for themselves. We're basically mindless sheep. Now, and they said that they never heard anybody in the community give him any pushback for what he said. That couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. That is the furthest thing from the truth. They were lying, right? Number one, for those of you who don't know, those of you may not know, right? Black people could tell the difference when someone is saying the term to be racist and when they're saying it out of terms of endearment. I don't care how you feel about it, right? I don't care what people, black people, we could tell when it's something to say out of anger, when you're trying to insult somebody, and when you're saying it to be, again, to show some type of fake camaraderie, like a term of endearment. We get that. Richard wasn't saying it, and he didn't say it to be insulting. The problem is he's white, And the fact that he said it, people don't even know and care. It's not even that they don't know, they don't care and how he meant it. It's the fact that he said it bothers them. That's their right. It could bother people, it could be upsetting. It is what it is, right? I personally, I don't care for him saying it. He doesn't need to say it because I understand why he said it. Claims he grew up around, black people as a child, and this was how the culture was, and I get it. But honestly, the same issues that a certain demographic endures may not be the same challenges he had to face or endure. And so sometimes it's like it's not really fitting or even appropriate for it to be said at all, much less by someone with an entirely different background. So I get all that. But to say that there are people, hold on one second. But to say that there are people in the community that just let him say whatever he wants, and you know, people are just gonna just basically praise him and act as if he's the second Messiah, he can do no wrong. Again, that is the furthest thing from the truth. There are people from every background, every nationality. I'm not gonna say every, different, who've called Richard out on whatever nonsense that he's done severely, including folks who have been in the community since the beginning, who not only hold coins, but have staked them since December 2020, 2019. Now, I've also been critical of the nonsense that this man has done last year, especially last year. You know, you can't make everybody happy, but I've also been critical. And I know people personally who've been extremely critical. You think I've been critical? They have gone above and beyond questioning many things that this man has done up to this point, as far as taking care of business. The whole no expectation thing. Everybody had expectations, though. Even though it was no expectations, everyone had expectations. And I've even had conversations with people who are contrarian in thought to everything I've talked about to this point with this ecosystem. And I've kept in contact with folks who have contrary points of view on purpose so that my sword could be sharpened. Because I don't follow the crowd in a sense. I go by the beat of my own drum. When the masses go one way, I go another way. I like to exercise analytical thought. I like to think critically. I do. But see, one thing that I also, because I'm gonna put myself in this, one thing that I am absolutely obsessed with unequivocal, and with no shame, one thing that I am absolutely obsessed with is creating generational wealth. And that's just what it is. And listening to these people, listening to these guys spew rhetoric, hateful rhetoric, to sort of like engender and sow seeds of poison in the minds of the listeners to say, oh, F Pulse Chain, you guys have a racist leader. You guys just want to have our community go to your chain now. This is what they say, your chain. So then our community can find out our coins are worth nothing. And then you can take advantage of us and steal and scam and do all these things. This is what was said as recent as this weekend on the spaces by a group of people that are trying to get attention. You see, when I was listening to the upload of the spaces, you had a moderator who was basically, basically not moderating properly, not being fair and impartial. I digress, but I don't digress. The fact that spaces were hosted by people who were leading, talking from a Pepe community, right? And the moderator was on the side of the host. The fact that they kept interrupting people who were trying to speak to really present points, to possibly counter things that they were saying. So they were trying to definitely control and censor any information, any talking points, any perspectives that were being raised to shed light, present clarity, right? Uh, 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 Offer education. That's not what they were looking for. They were looking to create drama. The moderator was saying, "Oh, there's only such and such number of people. How could there only be, so few likes? I'm trying to blow this spaces up right now. We share the spaces. Like not even a couple hundred people were listening, but all they were trying to do was have incendiary type of conversation, insult people, okay? Speak fiery talk, call Richard a racist, and how he uses the word nigger all the time to inflame certain, to have some type of fiery discussion, and then in the end say, you know what, forget y'all, forget Pulse Shade, I'm not doing this, not doing that. That they have their own community, and the moderator kowtowing and saying that, the host right here, the one who the most ignorant out of the bunch, the loudest and most ignorant, was somebody that's supposed to be well known and revered in crypto. Meanwhile, the people who are trying to speak from, the opposing view from this community kept getting muted. They just kept getting muted. Why? Why is that? It's an exchange, right? It's almost like when you lure when you lure somebody or a group of people, and that group has power, that group has presence, that group is larger than you, and you are trying your best to do what you can to Now, shift the attention away from this large group and shift the attention onto you so that you can now grow, so that you can also expand, so that people can see you as some type of formidable entity on purpose. And I'm sorry to say, these are some of the reasons why I don't really respect engaging just with anybody and everybody in every community just for the sake of mass adoption. I don't care for it because again, not everyone is going to agree with what you believe in. That's life. The world right now, you have over 180 countries that have their own creed and manifesto that they follow that do not always coincide with each other. You know, centuries old beefs, issues, conflicts, and strifes and problems since the beginning of time has existed and will continue to exist. And we will not find anything different now with crypto because crypto is synonymous with money. And like they say, money is the root of all things bad, right? Especially it becomes the root of all things bad when internally, not only are we may or may not be fractured, or it's more than just about being seriously flawed. It's about being conscious, making a decision, a conscious decision to do bad things. Money emphasizes that within a person who already doesn't see any good in life. All they do is believe that money is more valuable than they are, and they are going to do everything in their power to acquire it at any cost. Okay, folks, forget to use it the way it's meant to be used, not to use it like it's the end all be all, because you have people who will never, and that's just my opinion, they will never appreciate the good that others are trying to provide. It doesn't matter how noble you may appear, how saintly, how beneficial, how kumbaya you want everything to be. The world is not kumbaya, period. That was a small example, that exchange that I saw, that I heard, not even saw, I heard it on Twitter Spaces with less than 200 people in the group speaking about vitriol, speaking about hate, speaking about with gross high levels of contention. These are things again that are it's almost like sometimes it's even being created by design. You have bad actors that come in every shape, form, or fashion that have a sole purpose is to create discontent, to create confusion, to create drama, to create division, to provide an antithetical perspective with everything you got going on purpose, on purpose. This is what happens, and this is what continues to happen, and this is why folks need to open their eyes See, I'm a black man. That's not a secret. I don't have to show my face for you to tell. That's not a secret. I don't have to, and I know my position and where I stand. For as long as I've been just conscious of what's going on, I understand the circumstances that are always against me. Not all, but most of it, especially dealing with discrimination, racism, segregation of every time. And it's a mental thing now as well. Because once your mind is captured, you lose control of who you are because it's been relinquished and given to whoever captured your mind, whatever ideology, whatever person, whatever group of people, whatever thought processes that was not originally yours, that you now let your belief and your faith and your confidence to becomes your owner. And I understand these things. I understand that many people in Hex are not black like me. I get that. Okay. I get that even in the corporate world, in the 9 to 5 world, many of the CEOs, many of the owners, many of the board directors don't look like me. I get that. I understand that Richard Hart is not black. I get all of that. I get all of that. I understand how I grew up. And like I said in the beginning of this stream, that I had an associate of mine deem me as a hood therapist. And I wasn't even offended. Some people might take it offensive. This was around 10 years ago. Why are you calling me a hood therapist? What I look like? What do you think? I come from the street? That wasn't my perspective, but I appreciated the sentiment because I understood, and I'm not ashamed of where I come from and my beginnings because that's what got me to where I am today. And here we are, dealing with what we're dealing with in life. We're dealing with cryptocurrency. And like I was explaining to everybody when I was making content back 2 years ago about this specific community, that there are going to be situations that arise where folks are going to talk and trick you and fool you on purpose so that you can relinquish your tokens, you can give everything away to them because they don't want you to become successful. They don't want you to become rich. They don't want you to be in a position where you could call your own shots. They're going to bring issues of race. They're going to bring issues of discrimination. They're going to bring issues of political views and differences, right? All types of bias and prejudice that you can think of. That's coming. That's already been here, and that's coming. But what you have to understand is none of these things disappear. They've always been, like it's not something that crypto can just erase and now you act like none of those things exist. So it shouldn't come as a surprise. My thing is it's something I've been saying for a long time too, especially with Richard. With Richard, like some of the things he does is so questionable. I wonder often, who do you have? What friends do you have to talk to, right? That could actually not be a yes man to you all the time, like yesing you to them, saying you doing everything right, because that's how you end up in a bad position because we don't always do everything right. A person who's always telling you you're doing everything right is just waiting for you to fall. And if they're not waiting for you to fall, at some point you will fall because we don't do everything right. And it's through making mistakes and having things happen and certain failures, that's where we learn to strengthen ourselves, to build character, so that when certain things arise again, certain instances arise again, we know how to attack and solve and resolve these issues so they don't have to repeat themselves. And I say that to say Richard has done things that leaves a big question mark for me. Not one, not two, several things. And I understand that because people are not perfect, and I get it. But I say to myself, yo, dude, you have nobody in your company or in your camp, quote unquote, or friends to that can like really tell you the truth. Tap in with the people who really know. Like, I don't know, and but it goes into other things. That's just my stuff. That's just my thing, right? Whatever. My hangups, my shortcomings, my whatever, my opinion, speculation of like, man, like who's advising this guy? Like, on things that he's done. That leaves like a question mark. But certain things are always going to come up because the whole talk now is not the whole talk, but some of the talk now is, why is the market so low as far as with not just the market, but that's the thing. The entire market is down. But why is Pulse Chain so low? What did you do with the money? You could use the money to boost up prices and why? Where's the money now? And all this crazy weird energy that's been reminiscent of 3.5 years ago with the recycling of the ETH. What happened with AA lobby transformed this transformer more than beats the eye. Like everybody just it's almost like it's a resurgence of OA and all this stuff. Meanwhile, it's the same narrative being recycled. Go figure. Recycled ETH. Where's the ETH? It's not your money. Like all kinds of talk, weird talk to confuse people, trick folks out of a situation. I don't care what a person is. If they created something, a piece of technology that's going to help feed my descendants, right? That's going to help generate long term revenue, right? That directly, I know that this piece of technology did not directly hurt or harm anyone. I don't give a F what background they are. I don't give a what they look like. But now, see, if you talk like that, in some circles, they say you're a coon. You know what I mean? Like to throw you off. When folks they express themselves in such a way where they start to name call and to shame is because they really cannot address the facts that are raised, certain talking points that you bring up. They can't counter or offer real strong rebuttals without name calling, shaming, cursing, right? Reducing their intelligence by now becoming filled with rage. And what happens when you're filled with rage? You're not thinking properly, right? You're not thinking clearly. You're no longer really thinking. You're just reacting like a beast. And that's what you find. And that's what I found in that spaces. That's exactly what I found and what I discovered in that spaces. It was terrible, folks. It was terrible, but it was indicative of what's to come. Okay? I saw that and I said, yeah, see, they're coming. This is the narrative that's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen now. This is what's gonna happen. There's gonna be all kinds of talk. This is why I say, I don't care. I don't care for trying to market to every community in crypto in the world. Guess what? Guess what? By virtue of Pulse Chain existing, every and any community that was dealing with Ethereum, by and large, by and large, already got adopted by default with all the copies of coins that they had on Ethereum, whatever version of the coins are onto Pulse, they already there. It doesn't mean that a person has to go really utilize the chain, but it's already there. The mass adoption and all this extra stuff, that's something that the market will have to decide ultimately. Point blank, period. Because what's going to happen is, and I'm going to tell y'all, some of you already know, when things change, when the climate and the sentiments change, and it moves from this angry, real low level bear market, deepest low bowels of the bear levels where the bear's about to defecate some nasty number two on the ground in the forest. When we go from that point to where that bull is raging and we on the tip of the bull's horn, piercing through every obstacle, the sentiment will change. Folks are going to be like, oh, this has been the best thing since sliced bread. They won't know what to do. They're going to sell everything just to chase the raising and rising prices. And that's just how the markets are. People buy green candles. Yeah, they buy green candles and they do the opposite of what should technically be done in order for them to secure financial position or great gains. Because it's now that they should really be taking advantage and doing whatever research they can do now while everything is just low, everything is quiet, there's not much fanfare, versus when everything is the excitement is through the roof, euphoria at maximum levels, where folks think that it's going to be a bull market forever. That's this type of mania that occurs where the markets go so high where you could throw anything at the wall in the market and make some money. You're going to be thinking and fantasizing and dreaming like, oh man, this is going to last forever. Life is so great, until it changes. Because it's like a wheel. It's a wheel. Goes round and round, goes up and down, round and round. Folks say cycle, they say these things, but they don't really conceptualize it or internalize it. They don't really like to see and equate, okay, this is what this means. It's going to go around and come right back again, go around and come right back again, go around and come right back again. Ride the current of the wave and stop crashing against it. Because while folks are at the bottom and crashing, right? They're looking for ways to attach themselves to something positive. But we're finding here that there are situations where people are creating dissension on purpose in the name of trying to encourage more people to join this community. But to what end? And it's not like I'm against anyone joining the community. I just don't need to go chase after anybody, like let it happen natural, let it happen organically. Because what's going to happen is, even if you do go hard, because a lot of the people that were in that spaces from the Hex community were folks who work hard to market. People like, KDP. Some people don't care for her. Got to keep it real. Some people don't care for her at all. But when she gets on spaces, people listen. She like E.F. Hutton out this motherfucker. When she talks, people listen. Thousands, right? Like I've seen it with my own eyes. Not necessarily I've listened. I'm not, against her either way. I have nothing against her. But I've seen the hate even for her, just like I've seen the hate for myself. I've seen the hate for her. You're always going to have adversary. And see, even early in the morning, you got the noise pollution. This is what happens when you're speaking the real. And I digress. You had folks like Abid, another person who left his country to do a tour in the United States on his own dime with the whole crypto Sparbook team, marketing, crazy marketing, more than US Americans. This guy left his country in Europe, I believe from Germany, to come here and do statewide tours. How many states did they drive through? On their own dime to market. He was trying to also raise up points and talk and have discourse, but those guys weren't there for that. They weren't there to learn. They were there to insult. They were there to create a division and grow a wedge. They were there to make people angry on purpose. They were muted. Marco the Hexagon tried. He tried to speak. Okay? He tried to give his points, but he was silenced every single time on purpose. And this is another thing that sort of like lends some type of, it's not really frustration. I say to myself, wow, I get having a chance. Like it couldn't be me. Put it that way. That's the best way. That couldn't be me to jump on spaces and raise your hand if you can. Raise your hand if you can. Raise your hand to talk like you're in a classroom and people can control you that way, can silence you at any point. No, 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 no. You will not have that advantage over me ever. Are you kidding me? For some nobody, some anonymous people that I'll never meet in life, shutting me and my voice because I'm countering whatever you have to say or offering some discussion on an even keel, balanced, not emotional, but balanced. No, they were there to cut Marco's voice. They were there to cut Abid's voice, and they were there to insult and disrespect KDP. But this is y'all. This is y'all fault. The Hex community's fault. When y'all go trying to, connect with folks who don't want to connect with you, who don't, because they even said it. It didn't even matter what was said. It didn't matter. Y'all want to go and let's meet these people. Let's talk with these people. These people don't want to talk to you. There are folks that look just like you that don't want to talk to you in crypto. So it got nothing to do with race. They use race as an inflammatory card because they know it'll piss people off. They know the conversation will go left. Because throughout that whole spaces, which was a time that I cannot reclaim, it was about an hour long, the upload that I caught on YouTube. I'm hearing like 45 minutes in, somebody said Richard, and then the host said, oh, who's RH? No, that's Richard Hart. This is what Abid said. Abid was explaining, he said RH. The guy said, who's RH? Abid said, Richard Hart. And then the guy said, oh, you mean that racist? The racist that likes to call black people nigger? You see? But then Katie had to educate him and tell him no, not no, but on Pulse Chain, it's not just about trying to have people come over to Pulse and get their coins and get dumped on or find out that their coins are not worth the same as on Ethereum, but there's different types. There's ERC20s, 7, whatever, all these other coins. And then he said, oh, so I could get he has an NFT. He said, oh, so my NFT is also over there? And she said, yeah. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know, but he didn't care to know that. He didn't care to know that. Because when even Marco was asking him, what's your issue? What is your issue with the community? Oh, you guys are just brainwashed. Every time I hear about Pulse Chain, you guys are just fondling Richard's nuts and It's just ad hominems and all this whatever stuff, weird talk that the community has heard for the better part of 3.5 years. There's nothing substantive. Nothing substantive. There was a few critical things that were brought up, sure. And I'm not saying that they don't have a reason to be angry if they interpreted how they interpreted by Richard saying, y'all niggas. But you know what it is. If you don't know, you don't know. But you know what it is when it's said. And he was checked. But they saying nobody in the community checked Richard on that. He was checked. On the internet, via Twitter, via YouTube, via the online, just whatever. It happened. But folks who want to just continue with the story, right? Because they have their own agenda. Again, we're talking about a community, Pepe community. Y'all I've heard you say you got to get the Sheba people off. Listen, they're already on pulse. The coins are already there. Whether they decide to use it or not, that's on them. That's their choice. That's their choice. I'm done with y'all just looking for, I don't know, recognition by trying to call it market to people who don't give a fuck about you or us. What is that about? You want to continue to knock on somebody's door for them to throw piss and shit in your face like you in the penal system and say what? Thank you. May I have another? It's easy to pull a race card. That's easy. That's easy. And it's not going to end. That's going to be the talk forever. But when y'all just like, I just don't get it. Again, think about this. The moderator kept saying, "Oh, wait, hold on. I got to interrupt y'all. I'm moderating, and there's a hundred and something people in this room. Why do I only see, a minimum amount of likes? We need to blow up this stream, share it. Retweet. That's all it was about. That's all it was about. It wasn't about educating. It was about fighting. It wasn't about having a mature discussion, an intelligent discussion with the meetings of the minds. It was about being offensive, offending women, offending people, calling folks coons, calling this girl a bitch, saying all kinds of things. And y'all smiling and you take it. Like, oh yeah, No, but what's your problem? Like, I don't, that's just not in my nature. You know, like to just take all that. And for what? For the sake of what? You trying to break through the wall of whatever barrier to just what? Build bridges? We're trying to build a bridge with people and nobody cares. The bridge is already there. It's called Post Shane Bridge. Go bridge there. You think people like us? You think people like you? What are you doing? Is this what we doing? Not what I'm doing. I'm gonna tell you, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I will ever listen. I've been out here for a little bit. I don't know who raised some of these folks. I don't know. Maybe people want to, hold on to the dream of the world just being a better place. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the sentiment of 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 desiring the world to be a better place. Absolutely. But it doesn't really have to mean that you have to accept shit thrown in your face. You don't have to eat everyone's shit in your desire to see the world become a better place. You don't have to be a doormat. What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking to me about? Greetings to everybody here. Let me go through the chat. Buffalo Heart. Blessing to you. I appreciate the sentiment. Appreciate it. Lee, how are you? Let's get to work. Credit products of crypto. We're blessed. Very blessed. Very blessed. LaDanny Amor. Hey, people. Crypto like the hood therapist. I'm not a therapist, man, but I hear you, man. That's me saying, this a nickname I was given by a real clinician too. But thank you, man. Thank you for your sentiments. Trying. You too. Everybody who's here, who's rocking with me, listen. We're gonna have a beautiful day. We're gonna have a beautiful day, and we're gonna face life as it comes. Right? We're gonna do something today that's gonna help us tomorrow, and the day after that. Should we be fortunate to see the future, right? 100%. 100%. Refined hayseed appellation. Yo, these names are fire. Yo, the names that be coming through. Yo, man, how are you? I'm sorry. Refined hayseed appellation. The individual can think. Shout out. FOMO TV. Yo, shout out to FOMO TV. MJ Money. Good morning, Wonder and Friends. Early bird gets the worm. You already know. The early bird gets the worm. It's a grand rising. Some people say grand rising instead of good morning, because morning, has a different, connotation for some people. It's grand rising, great beginning, another beginning, right? Emphasis. Continuum. Racism is a psyop these days to confuse and divide. 100%. 100%. Racism is a psyop of these days. And they're going to use it to the maximum levels. Right? But listen, like I said, I've been out here for a little bit. I've been through worse. You know what I'm saying? I've been through worse. For real. And that's minuscule. That's the whole thing, and racism in crypto, right? Racism in crypto. How about this racism in life? And it encompasses everything. And it's just unfortunate, but it's real. It's there. I recognize it. I recognize the energy, and I always counter it by what I think, what I believe, what I know, how I behave and interact with people. I counter that. So it's there. I respect it for being the demonic, evil energy that it is, the wickedness that it is. I understand it. I don't have to become that. That's the key. I don't have to become a racist individual. It's a conscious decision, a choice, applied my free will to not incorporate that level of negativity in my life, and will not. I wasn't bred that way. And in fact, when I was small, when I was young, when I saw a child my age, I remember And I saw kids my age and they didn't have the same color like me, but I thought they were same like me because we were kids. I didn't know the difference of anything because I'm in the sandbox playing with a child. I didn't know if you were, you know, African background, black background, Latin American, South American, European, Asian, anything, it was just we're small, we're young, we got the little hands, little feet, we make the little noises. Let's compare who has the louder noises. Let's compare. But then we grew up and became tainted because we were shown and presented certain veils, certain shroud and veils of division, separation, individualism, instead of really appreciating the connectedness in all things, the origin and the connectedness in certain things. And so I'm just a little different, not better. I'm a little different. There's racism just in every aspect, not just in every aspect. You think I care if somebody wants to be in pulse chain or not? I don't care. I'm pro building generational wealth by the most secure means possible. DJ Cryptomatic, salute, 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 salute. Big G's, big G's. But folks, I'm pro, I'm pro trying to engender a certain mindset and lifestyle that I could teach my family how they can implement or even apply it so that they can never be without by having a mindset of being in a position of owning assets that can multiply on their behalf forever, like many other people have and continue to have and will continue to have. What is the difference with us? The difference is yourself and what you think and what you believe and what you want out of life and what you limit yourself to have or not have. You become the difference. You're the biggest obstacle in your own life. You're your own worst enemy. So they can call me whatever they want to call me. It just so happens that this man who I talk about, been talking about him, especially during the sacrifice phase, that created this token that went 10,000x that I hated, that I didn't even like in the beginning for my own ignorance, out of my own ignorance. I made the worst, costliest financial mistake in my natural life. Because I talked myself out of the opportunity because I just embraced my own ignorance about Richard. I didn't like the colors of the token. I didn't like the name of the token. I thought he was cursing the crypto community. Thought he was trolling the crypto community. I thought he was a magician performing magic tricks to trick everything in the community to scam everybody and take their monies. I didn't care about OA. I wasn't talking that talk that everybody else was talking about, recycling ETH. No, 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 no. I had my own reasons, and those reasons were out of sheer ignorance, and it cost me. It cost me dearly, handsomely. And I looked my family in their eyes at that point. They had no idea what I was going through. But I looked at them and I made, sort of like a personal promise to them. And I said to them, I'm never going to stand in my own way, because what I was doing and what I do affects them directly and indirectly. When you're a parent, when you're a father, when you're a husband, when you're a brother, when you're a godparent, when you're a spiritual leader, when you do these things and try to meet your obligations, life is more than just about you. It's more than just about you. Right? So I had to put a lot of my stuff aside, a lot of whatever aside, and learn from my mistakes and my errors. That's what I had to do. That's what I had to do. When you go through life and you have these pivotal moments, that some people call them milestones, and these moments, and some, it's not really akin to like a moment of clarity, but it's sort of related to those sentinel moments, like these sentinel events that take place, and it either makes you or breaks you. When you overcome a certain challenge, certain trials, certain problems, it builds your character, strengthens who you are. You don't take it to your head and become egotistical. You just respect it, because it was a lesson there in those mistakes and those errors and those trials and tribulations for you to absorb and to learn, so that you don't have to continue to make the same mistakes should the problems arise again. Because if they do and you don't learn, you're going to repeat them. Why? Because you didn't learn. When you go through these moments and you watch other people who are about to crash, other people who are facing the same obstacles, and you see how it's going to go. You see how it's going to turn out for them, because you've been down that road before, and they don't listen to you. What are you supposed to do? Go chase them? Like, really, after a certain point, you have to take care of you, especially when you have to understand, again, not only are we our own worst enemy, but in many cases, we forget that we're the biggest blessings of our lives. It starts with us loving us, understanding who we are, understanding that we have power, we have value, we have self worth. We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. But then when we forget that, and we say, no, I'm going to try to save this person because I know how this is going to go for them because I went down through it. And then it ends up not working out in your favor when you got people just throwing excrement in your face because you're trying to get them to see the light, a certain light. No, they're going to say, oh, no, you are pseudo righteous. You think you all knowing and better just because you're talking about some post chain and everything else, and you're trying to get me to drink your Kool-Aid. I don't want to be a member of your cult. Then you let them go. You let them live, do what they do. All this talk for years about trying to have institutions on board. The institutions have been here. They've been in crypto, amassing, scooping up Bitcoin for years. They've been here. It's going to take a lot longer for the world to really see what we see. And that's okay, because everything happens in its natural time. Everything happens in its natural time. I'm not going to, and in the process, though, for me, I'm not going to engage in low level types of conversation, low vibration, low level type of conversation that when you walk away, you come out feeling even more deficient. Like you didn't learn anything. You didn't learn anything speaking with somebody who speaks nothing but hatred and vitriol for you, right? They're upset and they're jealous that you're in a position where you can actually look forward to creating generational wealth. You can actually look forward to it because you're currently participating in a system that's helping you understand how money works, helping you understand how to make money work for you. They're jealous of that. They don't want that for you because look what they represent. Pepe, right? And you're saying, listen, that you could do other things too. There's other things. And it's not just about Pepe. It's not just about these meme coins. It's not just about anything. Like, it could be anything. It could be anything. But how many of us have seen the narrative, have seen how the story plays out? But folks want to be so embittered. They say we're tribe. I get herd mentality. I get all of that. I get it. It doesn't mean that the herd mentality, the certain aspects of being a part of a tribe, the negative aspects that I don't care for, have to become my reality. You understand? Like, people are weird. Let's see. The Danny Amore. After this, I have to say I listen to you, ATX, Westcott, and Wales. And I love you folks, especially together. You guys are true influencers, crypto. Bigger than BS. What are we doing? Yeah, those are good guys over there. ATX, Westcott, and Wales. Like, we offer our own perspectives, and it comes from a natural place, you know. And there are other people too, like so many that I can mention. Identity Block. Wow, that guy. He's been around since the beginning. There's so many. Even Big Pep. Big Pep is a person that keeps it real. Keeps it real. Like, will really criticize Richard on the stream. You know, the guy makes me laugh, very entertaining. Some people just don't, people, you like what you like. You know, there's a member, there's two members in the community. I call them members because they stake. They stake. They're not necessarily um influencers like I am, like as far as Hex, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, because they had their own communities. They didn't necessarily start, but they have Hex. Not only do they have Hex, but they've been staking Hex from the time that I hated Hex. They've been staking Hex since 2019. And they also present things as fair and balanced as possible. They talk shit. And when I say shit, I'm not saying it in a bad way. But when Richard goes off the deep handle and he goes wayward, these guys criticize him for everything and anything under the sun. Muddy Mo, Stunner Breezy, these are guys that have tokens that have been staking long before Big Payday, have since, branched out and went into other communities in DeFi, but still hold Hex and call Richard out on his nonsense. And then you got these nobodies that are saying that no one in the Hex community, nobody has called Richard out for the foolishness Richard has done, because he's done foolishness. We understand that. We understand that. The man, yeah, he created a token with incredible, but you've done some questionable things too, bro. It's true. And you can't say, and these guys, they just want to, create, again, dissension and contention and fight. And I'm not for any of that. Like the gentleman just said earlier, it's like a psyop, a controlled way to really now steer the narrative away from what you believe on purpose so that you could in the end feel like you're doing something wrong and relinquish what you have and then end up regretting because you'll find out sooner or later that you made a big mistake. This is what folks do, you know. The meta, another contrarian, in the space like that just calls it down the middle, fair and impartial, fair and impartial. I've been even critical as people creating projects on suppulse. I was critical about that because I'm human. All these people creating projects on suppulse, to me, it was like a distraction. But if you create a project that's beneficial and is working, who am I to judge, man? Shout out to Alex from ICOSA and the Hedron community. Alex did something and he showed me as a just as a his character over this last year and couple months. You know, like, okay, here you go, Hexicans who would stake in. You can also mint your Hedron for as long as however you've been staking, all the way back to day one. What did they do? They saw it as an opportunity to just dump the token, and that's fine. But later on, come to find out that the token has value. The token has value. Imagine this thing with this Hedron thing, right? One T share, one T share. You stake whatever amount of hex tokens you have, 15 years, you come out with one T share. One T share is equivalent to 5,555,000 Hedron. One T share is equivalent to 5,555,000 Hedron. People look at that and say, oh, that's worth dust right now. But that's right now. Hedron is bonded to the T-share rate. People don't see. They don't know what they have until they lose it. Short-sighted, not thinking about tomorrow. They're thinking about today. God bless them. But imagine if you have 5,555,000 Hedron, that's equivalent to one hex T-share, whether you want to like it or not, no matter how many, fractions of a penny it's worth today. You don't know what it's going to be worth in 15 years. You don't know. Some people just can't think that far ahead. And then you have ICOSA that's bonded twice, two different times, 2x to the T-share rate. That's even more, producing more rarity and scarcity to the ecosystem. And there's other people too that have done things in the community. But I'm talking about in a sense where folks are stand up. People are real on this side too. Folks just want an opportunity and just be genuine with what it is. That's all. That's what folks are looking for. A chance to create real generational wealth. A chance to really to find a way to pass down, right? Pass down their earnings, their assets to their loved ones, where you don't have to depend on legacy. You don't have to depend on going to a 9 to 5. You don't have to be so heartbroken to the fact that you can't retire and you're 65 years old. I don't know, folks. These are bizarre times, but you can't let it shake you out. Hexile, Degen, salute to you. Al Merlos said, big dogs in the building. Indeed. Refined Hayseed Appalachian said, we made our own thing in Hexaco. Yep, Hexaco's a mindset too, like for some people. Hexaco's a mindset. My thing is when you're there's conversations that we have to have in life, and sometimes we avoid these conversations. And I think they're very important. I think they're pivotal because that's what builds character, right? Certain conversations that we have to have and sacrifices that we have to make. See, people take that term literal, but it's what it, I mean, we sacrifice. We've been sacrificing before the sacrifice phase, and we'll continue to sacrifice for the rest of our days. Like, this is part of life. Some of these things that we have to come into terms with basically helps us evolve. Like, I can't just be stuck in my own way. If I held on to my negative misconceptions about hex, I wouldn't be here today having this discussion with you all. Quality discussion, just engaging with you guys and gals, and learning and even discovering things about myself within the last 2 years of what I can deal with. I wasn't always like this, in a sense, because in crypto I started as a degenerate. I made all kinds of crazy, risky errors and mistakes and lost a lot. Lost a lot. Leading up to coming into Hex, I started to change my ways and I started to make earnings. I started to allow this market to help me, allow this market to benefit me. And then I landed here and I'm like, oh, I'm good. And not only am I good, but my family and associates are, like, because it's not just about what it's doing for us today. It's about what it could do for us tomorrow and the day after that, and for years to come. I know everything looks crazy. The prices are down. Sacrifice phases started when everything was going down. Well, actually, no, because 55 cents hit like the fall of 21. Sacrifice started in July of 21. It was like everything was at a fever pitch. But since the fall of 21, everything has just been going down, down, down to where we are now. And people, this is not new. Nothing is new under the sun. Folks are upset. Folks are, going through what they go through. And it's like a revolving door. It's a cycle. It's a wheel, like I said earlier in the stream. It happens. What goes up has to come down and go right back up again. Take advantage of now. But don't allow poison to seep into your system, because that could cause a greater problem. You know, and it's out there. Folks are just waiting in the shadows, and even in appearing, they're not even hiding their intentions to trick you out of your opportunities. Good people, I gotta go. Thank you for rocking with me this long. All right. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, night, wherever you are. And take care.